I'm going to have to be quick. Michael told me he'd harm himself if I go over 8 minutes. And I like Michael, so I don't want to see that happen.
That's almost accurate.
The report that you have is about a problem that has become very pervasive, but we've known about a long time, called the fourth grade slump. If I could have the next slide. What is the fourth grade slump? The fourth grade slump is the phenomena that if you just teach kids to read in the early grades with a concentration on decoding and reading for literal meaning, but you don't get them ready early to learn to use reading for learning and to be able to engage with content, that by the fourth grade, kids who look like they were doing okay with reading, who were passing their tests, all of a sudden can't read. And the theory has been that they can't read because about fourth grade, often earlier today, the language of schooling becomes not just everyday language. It becomes very complex specialist language, the language of the academic content areas. And you can see this difference here. A sentence like hornworms sure vary a lot in how well they grow is an everyday English. And these are two sentences said by kids actually studying hornworms. Hornworm growth exhibits a significant amount of variation is not in everyday English. It's in academic English. It's a specialist language. Well, by the time you're in high school, certainly by the time you're in college, lots of your education is in the type of language in 2 and not 1. And if you don't like it, or you aren't ready for it, or you can't handle it, you're not going to get out of high school. Think about what's in your biology textbook, right? Think about that. Now, it turns out, linguists have known for a long time, you better not start learning the second type of language as start it in high school. It would be like, having high school in Greek, but you're going to get Greek 1 just as you have to do your whole schooling in Greek. Kids have to get ready for this complex language demand very early. In fact, the evidence is the kids who build up a good vocabulary, a good book vocabulary before 5 at home, get a skill that there correlates with schooling thereafter because they're getting a running head start on this complex language. Okay, if I could have the second slide. So today, another theme of this paper is that we face 2 gaps. One is the traditional literacy gap. The poorer kids learn to read less well than richer kids, but where learning to read means not just learning to read to pass a test, but also being able to read to learn to engage with complex content right through high school and college. But at the same time, we're getting a new digital gap. Now, the digital gap is beginning to be well studied, and this gap is not just a gap about access to technology, as Susan Newman will tell you. It is who gets access to good mentoring and good learning systems built with these tools and who doesn't, because the tools don't do anything all by themselves. They do something when you embed them in a good learning system with good mentorship. And some kids, especially at home, are beginning to get very good mentorship, good learning systems built around their digital media, and other kids are not getting that, and they're not getting it at school. So we're creating a gap, really a mentorship gap, around the most powerful tools for learning we have. Now, another theme here is that kids today are in a bind because they've got to get more than traditional skills. They certainly need all the traditional skills. They've got to master reading and writing and traditional content areas, but they've got to get 21st century skills. They've got to be able to use the traditional skills to innovate and be creative, not just to have standardized skills. If you've read Friedman's It's a Flat World book, in a developed country, we cannot survive just by doing the same thing everybody else can do around the world. So kids now have to go much further than they ever have. They have to go all the way to innovation, and they have to be able to use digital tools to do that. Next slide. So one of the things we want to do, obviously if we have a traditional literacy gap and we have an emerging digital literacy gap, we better speak to both of these together. Even from a pure efficiency point of view, why not use our digital media to both solve this content problem, the fourth grade slump problem, as well as give kids digital skills and 21st century skills and do it together. Now, what is promising about digital media? Let's just take video games, but there's many other aspects of digital media. What's promising is they allow you to do something that we haven't been able to do very well before, and that is to show people what things mean, not just tell them. We can put you into a goal-directed world in which which are directed to goals and directed to solving problems, and you can see what complicated language means, how it actually applies to do something when you have a challenge or a goal. And we can deliver forms of teaching that go well beyond traditional teaching. The game design itself can become a teacher. We can build in forms of mentorship. Many games, almost all games today, come with a community as well. If you play a game like Portal, you actually have to use the law of conservation of momentum to get through the game. It's a commercial game. But you can immediately go into a whole community playing Portal that will explicate all the physics of that law for you. Right? So nobody's giving you a lecture. They're actually showing you what this complicated concept means, showing you how the complicated language it comes with is tied to action and problem solving, and then supplying with the community that will give you mentorship, so that you are simultaneously building up digital skills and quite traditional literacy skills. All right, there is your next slide. So the report makes a set of recommendations which you can read. I just want to comment on a couple of them. One is that we did a survey when I was at the University of Wisconsin on all of the undergraduate majors and found that the people going into teaching were among all the people choosing various majors among the lowest in their digital adeptness and digital skills. There is a dire need, even for young teachers, to get them. Why? They have a tremendous allegiance to traditional literacy. And we need them, everybody, to know how to marry traditional literacy to digital literacy, because that's going to be a core teaching skill. The call for break the mold schools. The MacArthur Foundation is funding a school that Katie Salen has helped to design that is a truly break the mold school on how to use this digital learning. But as we do those experiments, we need to be able to network those experiences so they learn from each other, and this just doesn't become a haphazard type of innovation in various places that is not that various areas are not teaching each other. So hopefully, as innovation comes into space, one of the things this center can do is see to it that just the way when kids network with each other and they share knowledge across the world so they can build new things, we adults can actually do that and begin to do it in a very systematic way. So I think that's going to be, you can read the report. That's my 8 minutes, and I think Michael is still healthy, so I'm going to get on. Thanks.